In this video, you learn how to play in the Dorian mode on guitar. Modes are notorious for being difficult to understand and to use. However, they don't really need to be, and I'm going to simplify it for you today by particularly focusing on the Dorian mode, where it comes from, how to visualize it on the guitar, and how to create music with it. Hi, this is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net, and in today's lesson, it's all about the Dorian mode. We're going to break down the Dorian mode, understand where it comes from, what it's about, and then how to create music with it on the guitar. How does it look like on the guitar? Well, there's lots of ways that you can access the Dorian mode. We'll look at 3 very common ways to access the mode. Maybe not even so common, but very cool ways to access the mode. One of them is super easy. So simple that you can do it immediately if you know the pentatonic scale pattern. Even just pattern 1, and I know you know that, so you'll be able to get the sound of Dorian going straight away with today's video, amongst some other ways that we can visualize it on the instrument. Now, if you're new to modes, click the link in the top right corner of the video and you'll get taken to another video on my channel that gives you an overview of the modes of the major scale. So it's not absolutely necessary that you watch that first to understand what we're going to do in today's video, so you can kind of earmark that, bookmark that for later if you like, but certainly check it out because it will help with your understanding of modes. But for now, we're going to get into the Dorian mode. Okay, so the Dorian mode. So the Dorian mode is the second mode of the major scale. Okay, and we're going to look specifically at the D Dorian mode today. Okay, so the D Dorian mode is the second mode of C major. So what we mean by that is that the D Dorian mode has the same notes as C major, only we begin and end on a D note. However, this can lead to a lot of confusion, so we're going to clear this up in just a moment. Okay, but perhaps before we get into the Dorian mode and different ways we can look at it on a guitar, on the fretboard, a good thing to do first is just to simply play it on a single string, which really is one way that you could access it on the fretboard. So if I have a D note here, and in fact, let me start with the C major scale. It's a mode of C. We're not in the key of C, but it is a mode of C. So if I play a C major scale on a single string, second string, starting at C first fret, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, that's all well and good, and that's C major, I guess, right? And if I was then to go to the D note of the C major scale here and play from the D and go up to the D an octave higher, playing the same notes, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and we can come back down. That is D Dorian, okay? Now, how do you know which is which? I mean, they're the same notes. How is that D Dorian? How is it C major? Well, really, without any chords behind you, it's kind of nothing really. You need context, okay? You need chords. Chords are at the foundation of modes, okay? A lot of people get caught up in the notes and the scales of modes, and that's all well and good, but what grounds it is the chord progression that you're playing over, and that's determining the mode that you're in. So for example, if I play this C major, I'm going to come back to this C major scale, and I'm going to play it over a C major backing track here, okay? So we've got a C major backing track. It's just a 1 to a 4 chord. So we've got C to the F, okay? Now if I play my C major scale, sounds fine, right? Okay, all sounds nice and sweet. We're in the key of C because the chord progression is in the key of C. Now, if I was to play then, and this is where people get caught up and get confused, if I go, okay, well I'm going to play that now and I'm going to start on my D note. Now I'm going to be in D Dorian. And you're going to go, yeah, I'm in D Dorian. Well, no, you're not. All you're doing is starting on the second degree of the C major scale I'm playing. Okay, you're still in the key of C. You don't have to start on the C note to be in the key of C. Why are we in the key of C? Because of the chord progression here. Okay, so we need the chord progression to be in Dorian if we want to be in the Dorian mode. Okay, so I've got a D Dorian chord progression here. So let's get that going. It's a D minor chord to a G. Okay, so it's the 1 chord of Dorian to the 4 chord of Dorian. Now I've got a Dorian chord progression. Doesn't matter which note I start on, I'm in D Dorian. See, the C note doesn't resolve anymore, it's the D, because we're in D Dorian. Okay, the C still works, but it functions differently. Okay, so it all comes down to the chord progression. Start with the chord progression in understanding the modes. If you click the link in the top right corner of this video right now, or maybe not right now, but after this video, you can check out a video on modal progressions, and that'll give you an understanding, deeper understanding of what I'm talking about here. But the point here is, it's the chords you play over the top of that determine the mode you're in, not really the notes themselves. Of course, you want to be in key, but if I'm playing in C, Ionian C major, then C is my root note, D is my second or my ninth. If I'm in the key of D Dorian, D is my root note. C is now the 7th of the key and will resolve nicely into the 1. So the role of the notes change depending on which mode you're in, even though if you look at the notes in isolation, they are the same. One other way that you can think of the Dorian mode, if you look at it and you think about it, okay, D Dorian, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. If we compare that back to D major, what do you see? There's D, E, F, so there's a flat third. In D major it's F sharp. G, A, B, C, that's a flat 7. In D major it's C sharp, and then D. So Dorian can be also thought of as a major scale with a flat third and a flat 7th. Okay, that's another way to think of the Dorian mode. It's a major scale with a flat third, flat 7th, or you can think of it as the second mode of a major scale. Okay, a couple of different ways to think about it, but both will ground it for you. But again, chords first, notes second. Okay, so the first way that we can think and visualize the Dorian mode on the guitar, so we can use it to create music, is to think of it as, or to relate it to its parent key. Okay, so Dorian is the second mode of a major key, okay, of the major scale. So we're talking about D Dorian today, so D Dorian is the second mode of C major. C, D. D is the second note in D major, D Dorian is the second mode of C major. How does that help? Well, if you think about it then, and as I was just saying when I was introducing Dorian to you before, it's the same notes as C major, okay? I want to be very careful though here, and make sure you don't hear me saying it's the same as C major. It is C major, it's not C major, but it has the same notes as C major. So if you know a C major scale on the guitar, let's take this 3 note per string, root position, C major scale. Okay, that's C major. I started on C, it's setting you up to hear C major there. But if I've got a Dorian chord progression happening at the time, I could play that C major scale, but be playing D Dorian. Okay, so here's our D Dorian chord progression again, D minor to G. Okay, if I play that scale, notice straight away that C didn't sound like the root note because it's not. We're in D Dorian, so D is the root note. Okay, so you can hear that D is the tonic. Okay, so I'm just playing up and down that scale. So I'm not thinking, what's a D Dorian scale? I'm just thinking D Dorian is the second mode of C major. Okay, the chord progression playing is D Dorian, so I've got to be playing D Dorian. D Dorian has the same notes as C major, so I'll play a C major scale, and in doing so, I get a D Dorian scale. Okay, and as I said, you can hear when the D, that's the center of the key. Okay, if I played the exact same scale over the top of our C Ionian chord progression from before, C to F, F, okay, same notes, totally different sounding scale. So I'm not playing any different notes, same sort of ideas. I'm not doing too much with the scale here, but it's a completely different sound. It's a major sound for a start, and it's C Ionian, C major, same notes, okay? So again, emphasizing and showing you that the chord progression is king here. This is what will decide the key you're in, and then this is one way you can access the Dorian mode. Just relate it to its parent scale. So D Dorian, second mode of C major, D Dorian progression playing, play the C major scale, bang, you've got D Dorian, okay? That's a simple kind of shortcut way. Wouldn't want to be the only way you access the modes, but certainly a starting point and a good way to go about it. Okay, so another great way to access the Dorian mode on your guitar is through the pentatonic scale. So if you only know one scale on the guitar, it's the pentatonic scale, right? And if you only know one pattern, I'm betting it's the pattern 1. So if we were to play D minor pattern 1 up at the 10th position, right? You have 5 of the 7 notes of the Dorian scale right there under your fingers, right? You've got D, you've got F, you've got G, A, and C. So the only notes that you are missing are the B and the E. So rather than think of it as one scale, think of it as the 5-note pentatonic scale with added tones. Okay, so I could be playing all my pentatonic stuff that you do and just add the E or the B note. Okay, it's always done. Guitarists do this all the time. This is pretty much the backbone to someone like Santana, if you like. He does a lot of Dorian stuff and sort of pentatonic type stuff with added tones. Okay, so again, all I'm playing is D minor pattern 1, which has 5 of the 7 notes of the D Dorian scale, and then that gives me the framework to then add either the E or the B. So if I'm playing up this pattern 1, here's my D note, there's the E, added note, and then there's the second note of pattern 1. And then you've got the A on the next string, sorry, the G, then the A, and then here's a B, to then go into the C. So I've got the E and the B into the C, and then my D, and then there's my E into my F, so E being an added note, then my G, the A, the B, the C, B being an added tone to the pentatonic scale, and the D, the E, and the F, right? This is really common here, just on the top of the pattern 1 pentatonic scale. So to be doing all your licks and whatever you do with your licks and so forth, and be adding in these tones. Now it doesn't say too much to you right now until I put on that backing track, so let's do that. Okay, so again, back in D minor to the G, and you've got your pentatonic scale. There's an added tone. And the B. Okay, or yeah, whatever you... Okay, so it's a cool way as well to access the Dorian mode. You're thinking of the pentatonic scale, it's very familiar to you. You can do all your pentatonic stuff, and then you can just add these, the 2 tones, and see how they relate to the pentatonic scale. And check out the link in the pinned comment under this video. It'll take you to the page on my website that will show you this diagram in a little bit more detail and show you how the added notes relate to the pentatonic scale, the pentatonic frame work that you'll be so familiar with already. Okay, so adding notes to the pentatonic scale is another great way to access the Dorian mode. Okay, and another way, a third way to access the Dorian mode, which is a really, really cool way to go about it, is using arpeggios. Okay, so if we look at the Dorian key, okay, there's, just like you got notes in a major key and chords in a major key, in modes such as the Dorian mode here, you have notes and you have chords. So in the D Dorian mode or key, you have D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B half diminished, and C major. If we take 2 arpeggios out of that key, the F and the G, for example. It could be others, but we'll use F and G. They're both chords in the key, F and G, and we're going to take the arpeggios of F and G. So if we look at the F arpeggio, the notes in the F arpeggio are F, A, and C. Okay, F, A, C. Okay, a little arpeggio here on string set 432. And if we look at the G major arpeggio, what notes do we have? We have G, B, D. Okay, G, B, and D. Let's connect those notes together. We've got F, A, C, G, B, D. In those two arpeggios, we have 6 of the 7 notes of the mode. The only note we don't have is the E, which is fine. So we can access the Dorian mode by playing F and G arpeggios up and down the fretboard. Okay, so for example, I could be playing my F here. I'll use arpeggios on string sets 432. Okay, so here's the F, then G. Then here's another F and a G, another F and a G. Already you can hear, when you play arpeggios, you get different intervallic relationships between the notes. Yes, you're playing the same notes essentially as you did when you were playing the single string scale, as you did when you were playing the 3-note per string parent key idea, as you were when you were playing the pentatonic scale with added notes. But it's getting you to view them differently here, okay? It's getting you to play them in a different order, slightly bigger intervallic jumps because you're playing an arpeggio, not a stepwise scale. But when you connect the two together, you add the notes of F and G arpeggios together, you get 6 of the 7 notes, and that's enough to be playing Dorian, okay? So if we get our chord progression happening here once more, so this is D minor to G. Now, I can play F to the G. Okay, now I'm not trying to play F on the first chord and then G on the second chord. I'm just playing and mixing between them whenever I feel like it. It's not the arpeggios in the traditional sense of following a chord change. It's just accessing the notes via the arpeggio. Okay, F, G, to the F. Other string sets. Now there I just use sort of the top 2 notes of the arpeggios. Okay, so using just these little triad shapes, if you like, arpeggios, that's what I'm doing now. I've got this little triad of the F and the G. I'm just using notes from either. I can go back and forth. Or I've got this first inversion F to G. Okay, and just jump in between the arpeggios as I wish, basically. Got the F, second inversion, G. Okay, so it's a great way. I'm just playing arpeggios, the triads, on top of the progression there, but again, it's giving me just different intervallic relationships between the notes that I would otherwise get if I was just playing the other ideas, pentatonic scale and so forth. And then mixing them all together is a great way to get variety in your playing, which I would strongly recommend. Definitely look at each of these ways individually, isolated, and dig deep and explore and try things out. But the whole idea would be mixing these ideas together. We could go much, much deeper here, but I don't want to go too much deeper because this is just a single YouTube video on the Dorian mode. So we don't want to get too carried away. But those 3 ideas, right, apart from the single string, just to suss it out first, and the really, really important concept that the chord progression will be the foundation to everything, and that's going to determine what you're actually in. And then You've got, what do we have, the parent key. So if you already know a major scale, then you can play all the modes with that one single major scale, if it's applied in the correct way. In this case it's Dorian, so it's the second mode of the major key. Then we have the pentatonic scales with the added notes, and then this little idea with the arpeggios. Again, go to the web page linked in the pinned comment, first comment under this video, and you'll have examples of this. Okay, so if you can't quite follow it here, go there, and that will be a great supplement to what we're talking about here today, okay, with the modes. So there's some really cool ways to access the Dorian mode on your guitar. If you like this video, then you'll love this ebook audio from my Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar series titled Arpeggios. In this ebook, you will learn exactly what arpeggios are, how to visualize them on the fretboard, and several ways to use them in your guitar playing. I will run you through 3 key major arpeggio shapes and 3 key minor arpeggio shapes, and how each of these relate to each other on the fretboard so you can easily access them in your playing. Not only will you learn the conventional way of applying arpeggios to your guitar playing, but I will also show you how to instantly multiply your soloing possibilities with each arpeggio shape through arpeggio superimposition. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. I will not only show you how all this stuff works on the fretboard, but also explain it to you so you can understand the theory behind it all. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook audio, Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar Arpeggios. You'll have it in your inbox within minutes. Let me know in the comments section what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. I'm all ears and I would love to hear your suggestions. I read every comment, so let me know what you would like to see. If you like this video, then hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and of course don't forget to hit the all-important notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Kennedy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. As always, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching this video, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.